Hello everybody, it's me, Wumbles, coming at you just with another video. Today we're going to be breaking down and playing our week 4 matchup against my buddy Beer of the Victory VGC Trainer School Draft League. So today, gonna be taking on Beer, like I mentioned. Just gonna quickly go through the standings. We're looking really good here in first place, but we do want to continue on with our strong streak of winning and also not dropping games. And just to keep pace over the people behind us, you see here CM Hold or Chris not too horribly far behind us, and also players like Beer and others that haven't fully gotten in their games could catch up pretty quickly. So want to make sure that we're continuing to pace them as we move through the latter half of the season. This is going to be a quick league this season just because of kind of the restraints with Pokemon champions and their regulations, just trying to keep pace in the league with kind of the rotating format. So we're in the latter half now. We're heading into week 4 of 6 in total. And just going to break down the team that we have here, and we've brought against Mr. Beer. So today we're going to be taking on the Cincinnati Red Gyarados, run by Beer, and his team is consisting of his S tiers, Sneasler, Sinistcha, very powerful combo, and then he rounds out the core with Mega Feraligatr, Armarouge, and Cleavor in his strong A tiers, all very powerful attackers in their own right. And then he has some cool options down below like Alchemy, Empoleon, Kangaskhan, and then Manectric and Pidgeot, kind of just rounding out the team, gives him a little speed control if he wants it, stuff like that. So this week, I really wanted to make sure that I was in a good position, especially against some of his lower tier Pokemon. I think I have a very positive matchup overall into his top tiers like Sneasler, just because it's not able to hit Frostlass super hard. And then also Sinistcha, because we are the Ice type, we're the Blizzard spam to get around the Rage Powder. We also have strong Pokemon into it like Aerodactyl. Pangoro's coming this week, as you can see on the left-hand side. So really wanted to make sure I had techs for his bottom options like Alchemy, Empoleon, Kangaskhan. I also wanted to make sure that I was prepared for Trick Room because I think that's going to be his key to victory up against my team, and wanted to make sure I had good options into it. So breaking down the team, first is going to be Frostlass. This one was kind of a no-brainer with Frostlass this week. Ignore the calcs on the screen and kind of it saying it's not properly built. It all changes when you Mega Evolve and get the stat bump for that. So basically what we wanted today is 29 speed points allows us when we Mega Evolve to outpace max speed Pidgeot, so he can't set up Tailwind for free. And then we hit our special attack bump at 20 plus modest. And then we've also got 10 and 7 in gonna be our HP and defense. This calc, we didn't go super in depth with calcs this week. This basically just lets us live 100% of the time max adamant double edge with Feraligatr, so long as our snow remains up and we get the defense boost from that, just because Dragonite's double edge is a really strong attack. So pretty basic. And then we also have the Aurora Veil, Protect, rounding out the move set. Just options that I think can be very helpful installing out the Trick Room and also giving us the bulk to live through some of his big hits on this team. Next up is going to be Mr. Aerodactyl here. Kind of an interesting Aerodactyl set. I actually think this is a matchup that Mega Aerodactyl is very likely to come in one of the games, depending on how they go. So we're rocking Dual Wing Beat and Rock Slide, kind of just the go-to stab moves. Once again, as always, I considered Stone Edge, but it really wasn't picking up the KOs that I really wanted it to. Mainly Armarouge, even if it was because I have to be Jolly to outspeed the Sneasler, I wasn't able to get enough attack into my investment to have the Stone Edge picking up consistently with whatever his bulk might end up being. So we just went with Rock Slide, gives us the way to get around the Rage Powder, and also just gives us strong options into the Armarouge, into the Cleavor, lets us flinch, do silly stuff there. And then you'll notice we've got Protect, and we actually didn't bring Tailwind this week. We went with Swagger. So Swagger is a really funny move here. It'll come in, it'll make a little more sense later on. So I'm not going to spoil anything quite yet. We'll just keep on moving. The EV spread a little bit weird today. We're going to be going ahead and speed creeping Sneasler, of course. Just want to make sure we're outpacing that and threatening it with a super hard dual wing beat. And then we're 10 in HP and 23 in defense. This was just the most effective way for us to live -1 liquidation for Mega Feraligatr 100% of the time. Even if it's max adamant, so long as it is intimidated, it is going to be doing not enough to pick up the one hit. Lets me get off one of my moves of choice and hopefully retaliate in a big way, and hopefully it comes up before you can Aqua Jet just to snipe me off. So that is the Aerodactyl, and moving on is going to be Tauros. Now, Tauros is a set that I played with a bunch. We're going to be 151 speed, as you can see down below. We are rocking Adamant, so we're not creeping for stuff like the Kangaskhan, because I do anticipate it being a little slower, a little bulkier, so it can operate better in his Trick Room mode. But we are going to be catching max speed Cleavor. That way we can threaten it with a one-hit KO with Wave Crash. And then we've also got our strong moves in close combat. We've got Priority and Aqua Jet. We're Intimidate, of course, looking into his attackers. Sneasler, Mega Feraligatr, and Cleavor all going to be susceptible. We do have to be careful positioning into this Empoleon, though. So we'll see kind of how that comes up. One lead that I'm really worried about with my game plans is going to be actually Empoleon and Sinistcha. So we'll see what he ends up going for, and we'll go from there. We went with White Herb this week. I just wanted to make sure that if I'm close combating, that I'm going to live the Machagacha from Sinistcha after the fact, and that's actually what our calc is for here. 8 HP and 7 special defense lets us always live max modest Sinistcha in case he goes with a really offensive set, so we'll live the Machagacha there. So that is the Tauros for the week, and next is going to be Pangoro making his second appearance here, first in a little while, and today we are racking Black Glasses and Knockoff, giving me kind of the most immediate damage into Sinistcha, which I want it to be able to pressure under Trick Room. Then we've also got Close Combat here. That's just going to pick up the majority of his Pokemon like Kangaskhan and Empoleon. I did want to go with Drain Punch, but it was just missing KOs without a boosting item. So I ended up settling on Close Combat. I don't love getting the defense drops into his team, but I think it can come up big. And then lastly, we're having Bullet Punch here. This is going to be a really strong move to have because it is boosted by our Iron Fist that we're bringing once again, allowing me to pick up some KOs on Alcremie with 2 hits, also allowing me to pick off Cleavor at a very reasonable HP. And then lastly, just Detect, we are running Brave Nature this week, just to make sure that we're as slow as possible under Trick Room. It gets under a lot of his Pokemon like Empoleon and Sinistcha that are going to be really important for him under Trick Room. With the EV spread, we just went ahead and hit 26 with our attack. That just gave us the bump so we could get the extra stat point there. Then the HP and special defense investment is going to allow us to live a Dazzling Gleam from Alcremie if it doesn't have any invest. Alcremie is something I'm pretty worried about if it gets under Trick Room. I just don't want him to be able to decorate and start setting up and getting away from me. So we went with that, and then moving on is going to be Diggersby, our newest addition to the team, and this is where that swagger comes into play. As you'll notice, we're going to be the Lumberry, and of course we're huge power with Mr. Diggersby here, and that's going to allow us to really get going here and allow Diggersby to really surprise him with how much damage it can do. Of course, ground coverage is really good into Pokemon like the Armarouge and the Sneasler, along with the Empoleon. Manectric, which I doubt comes, but nice in case. And then we do have the coverage move in Ice Punch to allow us to hit Sinistcha. Quick Attack, just going to be our priority move, protect and let us kind of stall out those Trick Room turns if they come up. And then the Lumberry, also not just for the swagger from Aerodactyl, but it'll allow us to get around Machagacha burns if they end up coming up. So I thought it was a really good item. I went with 15 speed. This just allows me when I'm under Tailwind to outspeed Choice Scarf Cleaver, which looks like a really hard matchup for my team. So I wanted to make sure it was catching that at the very least. And then the rest was just dumped into HP and special defense, and 32 adamant, of course, because you want to get every point that you can to add on to huge power, because they're basically worth 2 points with the ability. Then rounding out the team is going to be our trusty refrigerator. Rotom Frost coming once again. I debated bringing stuff like Florges here. I debated my Goodra once again. And even Roserade didn't look bad just because of its speed tier. However, I thought Rotom Frost with the Focus Sash allowing it to live one hit allows me to pressure stuff that I am pretty worried about. Like I said already, Empoleon Sinistcha is a lead that I'm potentially pretty worried about, and Blizzard and Thunderbolt coverage allows me to hit both for super effective damage. Will-O-Wisp just really good into all his litany of physical attackers, so we'll have the Will-O-Wisp on there. Then lastly, just going to be Protect since I'm a 4-2 without running the choice item this week, and Focus Sash is just going to let me live one big hit. And since I'm 86 speed, that also gives me the edge up on Mr. Kleavor, as for always want to avoid being slower than those 85 speed Pokemon. So we're going to see how this week goes, and we're going to hop on over to game number 1 against Mr. Beer, and hopefully my calcs and preparation was enough. Alright, and here's going to be the preview for game number 1. So, as I expected, Kleavor, Empoleon, Alchemy all here, and those are some of the biggest Pokemon I'm worried about. If I had to wager here, I would assume Kangaskhan also comes in the lead. I'm pretty prone to leading Frostlass with this team, and I think he really wants the scrappy fake out and pressure that it can provide. Now, I've done some thinking about kind of what I wanted to bring for this game number 1. I think Frostlass and Tauros is a pretty safe lead. The one thing I worried about with this lead is the potential of him leading Empoleon Sinistcha. I had already kind of gone over that as a main concern just because I'm immediately going to give the Empoleon the boost and I'm not going to be able to pressure it immediately with close combat. So hopefully he's not going for that. It's pretty counterintuitive to lead the Sinistcha, so I just don't think he's going there. And then in the back I want Pangoro. I just want to have my options into the Trick Room mode. Granted, his only setter here is going to be Sinistcha, so I am able to set that down, shut that down hopefully pretty easily. No Sneasler this week is also pretty huge, and no Armarouge is a Pokemon I was really worried about, especially for Pokemon like my Rotom Frost, and Charcoal Calcs were looking really uncomfortable for me to take. So we're going to go ahead and go with this lead. We're going to bring the Pangoro in back, and I'm feeling Rotom as my last Pokemon just so I have something as a fail-safe against Empoleon, and Focus Sash into the Trick Room can always be a really helpful item. So we'll see what he's going into as we hop into game 1 here. Let's see what he has for me. So Kleavor Sinistcha. So not exactly perfect leads from my end, because he does have the Sinistcha on lead, a Pokemon I was worried about coming on lead, but oh, I didn't change my moves. I don't have Blizzard on my Frostlass. This is not... Okay, so this is my mistake. However, it might end up working out for me. We have the Ice Beam instead of it, which entirely my bad. But without the damage reduction, and with thus having the -1 into the Kleavor, I think we should be able to live with our Snow Boost, his attack here. So we're going to go ahead and launch Wave Crash into the Kleavor and Ice Beam into the Sinistcha. Entirely my fault on the prep there, so that is pretty embarrassing from my end. Granted, I don't think Blizzard really does much for us in this particular instance, but having to reveal very early that he doesn't have it. He's actually going to go ahead and U-turn out. He probably wants to get in a Trick Room Abuser because he probably knows that his Sinistcha is going to live whatever my Frostlass throws out. I'm sure he's calced for it. Maybe it would have been effective to have doubled into that slot, yeah. So Sinistcha goes down to the Ice Beam, so never punished. Maybe he was calcing Blizzard. That ends up being pretty huge for me to get that one-hit KO and have that information going forward. The Wave Crash into Feraligatr, because it's not Mega Evolved yet, it's not going to be 4 times resisting, which is also very helpful in just getting us a little extra chip onto this Pokemon. He did also reveal Mr. Kleavor is going to be the Choice Scarf, showing us his U-turn very quickly. So now he has kind of all the pressure in the world that he could want with this Pokemon to go ahead and focus down my Frostlass, especially now that the Intimidate's gone and get off a big hit with his Feraligatr. I think he could go for the U-turn again into my Tauros, and that could be potentially bad for me here, especially if I lose my Tauros to a double up from him and Feraligatr, not getting to go in and out with that. But I also think, let's just think for a second. We can go Pangoro. We don't really have a second to think. So I'm going to go ahead and launch my Wave Crash into this Cleavor slot and protect with my Frostlass here. This could be pretty bad if he does end up getting the knockout right away, if he ends up doubling up into my Tauros, or if he switches out into another resist here. So we're going to see the Protect Fire off, and then we're going to see the Stone Axe. So he got a little greedy. He doesn't have as many switches into Wave Crash now as well, now that his Pokemon is down with the Sinistcha. So we're going to pick up the clean one-hit KO on Cleavor. Tauros already putting in a ton of work in this game one. I can't imagine this Feraligatr is going to do anything too horribly scary. It actually goes for a Curse, so revealing that he wants to be slower and using his Trick Room mode to his advantage. So that is interesting to see for sure. But now that he's slower, it kind of gives me a lot of liberty with what I'm going to do next. So Alchemy revealed as the last Pokemon. He wants to get the Decorates off onto it under Trick Room as well. So with what he has here, what do I want to do? Do I want to try and pick up this Feraligatr, or do I read into the fact that he's going to protect and decorate into this slot? I think Aurora Veil is completely fair, just boost my entire team's defense. And then I also think just rotating out, is this too passive though? We're going to go ahead and launch a Wave Crash into this Alchemy. I just don't want to give him a free turn to do whatever he wants with his Pokemon, so no Protect coming out. It's interesting to see. We're going to see how much our Wave Crash does. That's going to be the next move to come on out. And that's going to connect with the Alchemy doing... Oh boy, that is a one-hit KO with the critical hit. It probably did matter because I'm not Mystic Water. But that's going to be really helpful to me. We're going to see what this Feraligatr's going for here. It's just going to be Facade. I guess with Dragon Eyes that does make sense, but with the Aurora Veil up, that's going to do almost nothing to us. So, going to go ahead and just launch out my Ice Beam Close Combat. At this point, I guess the technically correct play is to go ahead and launch my Ice Beam and switch into Rotom. Since I have the Focus Sash, I'm always going to be living this first hit. And that way I can have a faster special attacker now that he's got the Curse boost up to do more damage. However, at this point, I'm not too worried. He's just going to Aqua Jet into the Rotom. That'll break my Sash, but this Ice Beam's probably going to get it down to about 30% there. So we're going to get the freeze, insult to injury, but we should be coming away with a clean 4-0. I like that he was playing for the differential there. But with our Blizzard being single target, Ice Beam coming out of Frostlass here should be enough to wrap up game number 1 here for us. So what adjustments should I be worried about game 2? I think Empoleon, because I showed that I want this Tauros up front. I also think he's going to be more hesitant to bring his Sinistcha up front just because of how poorly it did in that game. So we're going to go ahead and hop over to game 2 and see what adjustments we can go ahead and make. Alright, so we're getting into game number 2 here. Like I said, I do expect this Empoleon to be coming now that I've shown kind of my hand with the Tauros. I do also expect Sinistcha to be left out of the lead, and I think he has some options that he can go for, but I think what I want to do here is reveal my second mode that I had prepared with Aerodactyl and Diggersby. I think this mode can be super deadly into his Empoleon that he likely wants to bring. We're going to bring Tauros, of course. We just want the Intimidate to make sure that we're living big hits from his Pokemon. And then I think Pangoro as my last makes a ton of sense, since we're not going to have the snow set up for my Rotom to take advantage of with its Blizzard. And then Frostlass can stay on the bench for the first time this season, because I think he's going to index into taking care of that Pokemon. So let's see. This is a little risky. It's something that I haven't really done before, leaving Frostlass this season, and I've always megaed it, so we're going to see how this plays out for us. But I am hopeful that the text that we created will be enough to kind of take us through this game number 2. So Sinistcha and the Kangaskhan here. So this is kind of what I was expecting from him from game 1. And the way I reckon with it, so there's definitely a few different things that I can do. I kind of want to hit the funny stuff. I do believe that he's going to be going for Fake Out, likely onto Aerodactyl. I'm going to go ahead and just take my attack boost now, or my defense boost from Mega Evolving now, and reveal that I didn't bring the Frostlass this game. That way I can take as little chip from Kangaskhan as possible. And we're going to go for the Swagger Ice Punch play. This could go poorly if Fake Out comes into really either of our slot. I mean, it's not super ideal. So we're going to see where he's targeting down. Trick Room's going up here, though. I don't have a great way at dealing with it. That did so much damage. We land the Swagger, so that's pretty good. We're going to be at +2 here. There is our Lumberry proc. So here we go. Shadow Ball, no Trick Room. Wow, that might have been a huge misplay on his end. Huh. So what do we want to do? We have Earthquake Pressure here to KO the Kangaskhan, but we also have the Ice Punch to pressure down the Sinistcha. I think he wants... The problem is I don't know the speed interaction because he went for Fake Out with Kangaskhan. I'm assuming my Diggersby is slower, and I don't actually have Tailwind this week. Why didn't I bring Tailwind again? That's unfortunate. We're going to go ahead and Protect here. I don't think I can deny his Trick Room here, but we're going to see what we can get off with our dual Wing Beat. See if we can scout out the item. I'm assuming it's Citrus Berry, and we're actually just going to miss, so that's really unfortunate. Drain Punch goes into the Diggersby, so he does reveal that. And Matcha Gotcha, okay. So we're kind of okay with this play. If I had Tailwind, I would be in such a good position right now. That is honestly a prepping mistake on my end for sure. Fake Out, it might be Silk Scarf with that damage calc. I think I can get away with living his Drain Punch, even if he is faster. I'm not going to survive the double up, so if I miss the dual Wing Beat again, I'm probably in trouble. But we're going to go for this. If I had Tailwind, I could pressure down this Kangaskhan so much better. This has honestly been a very sloppy week for me in terms of my Blizzard not being gone, my Frostlass, which funnily ended up working out for me. That does 6-2. We get crit on that second hit. Nope. Just a high roll and a low roll, it looks like. Citrus Berry is revealed. And we're going to see what all damage we can get. We are faster than the Kangaskhan, so very nice to know that. Earthquake's going to come out at +2 with huge power. Not enough to KO either. That's not even going to pick up my Aerodactyl. And depending how the Sinistcha's trained, we might be in this to live. Okay, so just going to go for Strength Sap. Okay, so, wow, that does a lot of healing. Of course, that does make sense. How do I want to play this? So I ran the calcs for +2. Now that I'm at +1 from the Strength Sap, I don't know if I'm KOing with this, but I do think it's my best bet to go ahead and just dual Wing Beat down this Kangaskhan. I could Quick Attack and go for the dual Wing Beat as well, but so far we've seen Matcha Gotcha, Shadow Ball, and Strength Sap. I don't know if the Sinistcha has Trick Room, and if he does, I don't know why he's delaying it so long. So let's see what we can get here. Okay, he's going to switch on out, so we're going to get free chip onto whatever comes in. It's going to be the Feraligatr here, and he just goes for the Protect. So we're going to land an Ice Punch. Unfortunately, we do have to reveal the Ice Punch. But let's see what he goes for. That's going to do decent damage, bring it down to about 76. Oh, man. I feel so evil, honest to God. I don't know. I do feel bad, genuinely, every time this has happened. That opens up the door for us. We don't have to be afraid of what this Feraligatr is going to throw out with an Aqua Jet. If he first turn Thaws and my Aerodactyl goes down, even at the end of the day, I think just getting my Earthquake off is going to be huge for me, as opposed to switching in the Tauros and getting the Intimidate down. So let's see, he's going to go for the Mega Evolution. turn himself into a dragon type, but a frozen one at that. I think with the double up between Rock Slide and Earthquake, he did Thaw, so the turn 1 Thaw gets the Aqua Jet. That's going to be big for him, but this Earthquake's about to do massive damage to all his Pokemon in the field. Let's see if it can pick up this Feraligatr. Feraligatr, a really strong Pokemon. And it's not going to pick up there, but we do get the Kangaskhan before a move goes off from that end. So, Kangaskhan down, Feraligatr not looking too hot. And now in lies the question of what do we want to do. We can go ahead and get our... Either Pokemon coming in here is pretty acceptable. I do think he just goes back into Sinistcha and wants to go ahead and heal up as much as he can. With the Hospitality, he's shown probably no Rage Powder. So I think Pangoro might genuinely be the better play. That way we have quick attack pressure onto the Feraligatr, and then we can go ahead and knock off into the Sinistcha. Even without its berry, because that went down, I think this should do a fair amount of damage. 46 onto the Feraligatr. So he either has Trick Room or Rage Powder here with that last slot. And that can be really telling for what he's going to do. Quick attack, I'm not sure on my calcs here for the Feraligatr at +1. I do wonder if it's worthwhile to just hard switch into Tauros here. I feel like he wants to go for a Protect on this Feraligatr, and honestly it's not exuding a lot of offensive pressure, so maybe going for Ice Punch and Knock Off here and just doubling into this Sinistcha while he tries to either heal up or pick up a KO with Machigacha could be very impactful. So I think that's going to better suit us for this late game. The Ice Punch bringing Sinistcha down real low. Now Sinistcha is always going to be faster than our Pangoro, which isn't great to see. However, we see the Feraligatr move first. Could he be going for the Trick Room on Sinistcha this turn? And revealing, it looks like he is. My Pangoro would have been slower, so doubling into that slot gonna prove very, very useful. He gets the Curse, so he's at +1 in physical defense, but with how low health Feraligatr is, I'm not exactly super worried about it. I think with the Pokemon we have left, even if he starts picking up some pretty decent sized KOs, he shouldn't be able to 1v3. So I think in this position, him going for a Protect on Feraligatr is completely fair and trying to get more damage down. I don't think Aqua Jet's going to kill my Diggersby at this range, so I'm kind of... And I know I'm going to be faster because he went for the Curse and is -1, and we've seen the speed order. So I think going Quick Attack Bullet Punch into Alchemy, just making sure it doesn't get a move off and get to threaten my Pangoro could be really big here. So we're going to go ahead, Quick Attack down, and then with our calcs, this Bullet Punch should pick up. However, it might not if he's super bulky, and he is very bulky on this Alchemy. Goes for the Aqua Jet at +1. That is going to be enough to take down our Diggersby here, and with a single target Dazzling Gleam coming out, we might be in some trouble here. Draining Kiss going to be the move of choice. Oh, what is he feeding this Alchemy? Huh. Okay. I mean, clearly that's bulky because it's living my double up from Quick Attack. Maybe I should have just gone for Ice Punch, because I know I'm going to be faster. Yeah, I think that is a misplay from my end. We're going to see if we can still do this with Mr. Tauros here. It's definitely possible. We do need this Alchemy to go down first. We saw the Wave Crash pick up the one-hit KO last time, but I believe that was the crit turn. So we're going to see how this plays out. If we pick up the one-hit KO here with the Facade at neutral, then it comes down to close combat, but he's at +1 defense. I think we're looking at our first game loss of the season so far. Really disappointed with how I played this, and definitely how I prepped this out, because that's not going to do nearly enough to the Alchemy. We're going to go ahead and pick up our first game loss here. Wow. So it does have the Dazzling Gleam. I wonder if he's Fairy Feather. Just looking at how much that Draining Kiss did to my Pangoro, because I'm a pretty bulky Pangoro. But we're going to lose game 2 and have to reassess what we do here in game number 3. Alright, so game number 3, the Scrappy Fake Out Kangaskhan is kind of a problem for me wanting to bring Frostlass. Aerodactyl, buddy. I don't know, you just didn't do enough there. I'm not really happy with how he performed, but honestly my fault for not having the tailwind. I think we're going to default back to Tauros plus our Frostlass here. He hasn't shown Rage Powder so far on this Sinistra, and he has shown the Trick Room, so we know what 4 moves it has. So he can't redirect our double up into the Empoleon, so it leads it pretty risky for him to go there. We're going to go ahead and bring Pangoro again, and I think we're just going to fully revert back to our game 1 leads and bringing Rotom and Pangoro here. We'll see what we can get out of him. Alright, so here we go. It's good to know the Sinistra moveset finally. I think that gives me a really big edge, knowing which 4 moves and him not knowing 4 moves on mine. So he does have the Empoleon. Okay. So this was the lead I was worried about. However, at this point, just knowing the moves on Sinistra makes this a lot less scary. We also know where the Choice Scarf is. Now, I'm going to go ahead and double the Empoleon. This is going to let him get his Trick Room up, which I don't love. But my reasoning behind it is I know this Empoleon is Chople Berry. Is there ever a world where I attack down the Sinistra and leave this Empoleon free to fire off a Flash Cannon? And I don't think there is. I think switching out Sinistra is completely reasonable from his end because he saw the Ice Beam KOing. So if I had to wager a guess, this is going to be Sinistra switching into Feraligatr and then Empoleon launching a Flash Cannon into my Frostlass. But yep, okay, so Sinistra out. What's going to be coming in? It's going to be the Feraligatr. I think I got this 100% right. Show me the Chople Berry. I know that is Chople Berry on Empoleon, because otherwise he doesn't go for a play like this. So I think me surprise doubling up and knowing that he doesn't have the redirection is going to pay off huge. Shadow Ball. This needs to do a pretty good chunk for the Chople Berry to still KO. That brings us down to about 60. We get the special defense drop. Oh, this is a boosted Empoleon. Come on, close combat. There's the Chople Berry. We got the turn right. Now just show me this KOing. And it hangs on with 10 HP. Okay. This is going to be Flash Cannon into our Frostlass, and we're going to be down our Mega right away. But what this does mean is we know what his Pokemon are doing here. The question that I'm going to have is if Blizzard from Rotom ends up actually picking up. And truth be told, I don't really think it does. But we're going to go ahead and go into our Rotom here. Oh, man. I think a play that's pretty justifiable here is Will-O-Wisp into this Feraligatr and just close combat down the Empoleon. Obviously, I think Sinistra could be coming in, but if he's anticipating Blizzard, I don't think he wants to take that because he can't take 2 of them. So probably going to be looking to sack Empoleon off here to get the free switch and a curse off on Feraligatr. Could also see the Gator protecting here. And apologies for the long delay there. Still battling this cough. It's been with me for about 2 weeks. We're heading on to week 3. There's the Mega. We're going to see if Protect comes out. It does not. So Empoleon going to go down to the close combat. He's hoping for the free switch or the free curse to come off. Going to go ahead and lower our special defenses, not get the whiter proc because that went off last turn. Here comes the Will-O-Wisp. That connects, and that's going to be big for us. So now with Will-O-Wisp down, it all comes down to what his last Pokemon's going to be, I think. Which is a little terrifying. He's going to launch that into the Tauros. He crits me. There's no... Oh, it's Facade. Oh, it's Facade, you dumb dummy. That's Dragonized Facade. Ooh, to everybody watching this video, I'm really sorry. This has just been... This has not been good out of me. I am playing very poorly, and I really don't deserve to win this. Sinistra gonna come on in. He's gonna pressure with his Trick Room now. And I honestly don't see anything living this Facade. I am still surprised that KO'd. Does it ignore the defense? the attack drop from it. I just don't. I guess I was -1. Oh, man. So what do we want to do here? Thunderbolt's gonna give us more damage, but I don't know if Black Glass's knockoff is gonna kill this Sinistra is the problem. But it might be the best play that we have. Yeah, I think just launching this, get the confirmed KO on the Sinistra before it's hopefully able to do stuff like picking off my sash and everything, and we're gonna have to hope that Feraligatr's not gonna be picking up one-hit KOs onto Pangoro here. And it's just going to. We're going to drop this game. Unless we go absolutely bonkers. He's going to set up the Trick Room. And a double up of Facade, and Shadow Ball is going to lose us this game. Really disappointed in myself. If I don't go for that play, and I just start rotating out my Tauros, I'm in a really good position. Wow, I'm. That's gonna do a ton. And Facade's just gonna finish it off. So we're gonna drop our first set of the season. We played horribly. We didn't deserve to win. I'm sorry to be doom and gloom like this. I mean, obviously it didn't go my way, which is unfortunate. But like, yeah, there's just, I don't know. That's upsetting. I should have run calcs on the close combat and Shadow Ball, stuff like that. So hats off to Beer, though. He played well. He played well enough to take me down. So GG's to him. All right, and yeah, so just to wrap up and kind of show where everything's at, honestly, I've taken a few days to record the outro. It's been, I think, 2 days since we actually played that set. As you could tell at the end, I was kind of tilted. I just didn't play super well, and I've taken time to, like, review the VOD. And this is something I struggle as a player, is just, like, slowing down and thinking through some turns. Some crucial ones is, like, knowing the speed interaction with, like, the Kangaskhan in game number 2 and my Diggersby, where I could have doubled up easily into the Sinistra. And then game number 3, like, if I'm going to call out that play, and I know I'm always going to leave the Machagacha, there's no reason I couldn't have just close combated the Empoleon turn 1 and protected. So really just pretty sloppy, but it is what it is. We're going to move on to week number 3, still in a really good spot here to make the playoffs. With us getting the 4-0 in game number 1, we're actually still going to be at a plus 19 differential, and with the 3 wins already and such an incredible differential, I really do see us as like very much locked into playoffs, so I'm not super worried about that. We're at 3-1 now, and you see Mr. Beer, he actually ended up losing his other set prior to that, so this is just kind of the updated standings. Everything's going to be coming to a head eventually when we face CM Hold or Chris. We're going to be facing him in week number 6 to wrap up the season, but he did remain undefeated, so good for him. Next week, just looking ahead, our week 5 matchup's going to be against Mr. Amlo here, and I brought up his team on one of these here. He's going to be rocking the Palafin, Megalucario, Hydreigon. Now, a little side note is the Aurorus has been switched out for Glamora, so going to be seeing a different look there. And then he's also got his Trick Room mode with Mudsdale, Mega Ampharos, and stuff like that. So, looking forward to this matchup. It looks pretty difficult, to be honest, so I'm hoping that I am up to the challenge. And yeah, so that's going to be our week number 4 against Mr. Beer. GG's to him, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks so much.